Okay, listen. The Costco guys didn't save the show, per se. That's kind of just so you can click on the video. But I thought they were the best part of AEW Full Gear 2024. These are both my cold and muy caliente takes from AEW Full Gear 2024. Let's get into them. Starting off with the pre-show. Boom! I'm not any of these other creators or podcasters who was pissed at this match, bro. I've been a big supporter of the Costco guys being on this show. Because one, I don't take wrestling too seriously anymore. Like, if the Costco guys want to come in and wrestle, especially a former wrestler wants to come in and wrestle in a pre-show, not only does it bring more eyes to the product, but it could be really fun. And this match was just really fun. Big Boom AJ was no slouch. He hit a lot of good moves and he looked pretty crisp in the ring. Now, he didn't look like Will Osprey or nothing, but I thought he looked generally pretty good in this match, and QT Marshall did a good job of making him shine a lot. Also, the Rizzler got like one of the biggest pops of the entire night. Y'all over here sleeping on these guys. They got one of the biggest ovations of the entire night, and it was on the pre-show. Also, Big Justice came in and hit QT Marshall with the greatest spear of all time. Big Boom AJ hit the power boom, and he won! And y'all got the nerve to complain that the Costco guys was on the pre-show? Okay, remember this, when AEW Full Gear, the numbers comes out, and AEW Full Gear did 20 million pay-per-view buys. Remember who did that. All right, serious note though, let's talk about the main show. Again, these are my hot and cold takes. This is not a traditional review. I will not be rating any of the matches. I might give like what I think I would give it, but no traditional review here. Just what I thought of the matches. So when AEW Full Gear started, like me and my grandmother were traveling from Miami, Florida to Philadelphia. So like I only caught like glimpses of this match. And I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I was intrigued going into it. I mean, I was mildly interested to see the Outrunners wrestle for the first time. And let me tell you something. These guys have a lot of charisma. They need to be on Dynamite more often. Private Party, they're the new AEW Tag Team Champions. They shined in this match too. As for everybody else, sure. I've seen them before. The match is alright. Private Party retained. Cool. Talk about a match that was just so disappointing. And I'm not talking about disappointing match quality-wise, because while the match was not like anything groundbreaking, it was at the very least good. Roderick Strong is still the king of sequence wrestling. The way this man can seamlessly hit a flurry of moves back to back and just make it look so clean, it's incredible. He's been doing it for 20 years and he's still the best at it. But this match should have been MJF versus Adam Cole. It just didn't feel right. Especially because the finish was very like anticlimactic. Like MJF counters a move, puts in the Fujiwara armbar, and then Roderick Strong taps out almost immediately from it. Very cold. Mercedes Mone versus Chris Statlander surprised a lot of people, including me. I don't think anyone seriously doubts the talent of Mercedes Mone in the ring, and no one should be doubting this. But boy, talk about a serious come down. I mean, the aura she had when she first came into AEW compared to now, it's like, I don't want to say it's 100 to like 20, but like it's much lower. Don't get me started on Camille. I mean, I don't know why she's even here at this point. It managed to turn poor Camille Brickhouse into Camille Shithouse. You hate to see it. It's literally of no fault of her own. It's just her booking has just been really poor. Imagine if Chyna were booked like Camille Brickhouse. She would have never gotten over, ever. Anyway, this match, really goddamn good. I would even say it's one of the best AEW women's matches of the year. Probably not better than Tony and Mariah from All In, but one of the best. Oh, the finish of Mercedes hitting a body scissor onto Chris Statlander and then just kind of pinning her off of that, I thought was really also anticlimactic. Like if I were rating it, I would have given it a 4 instead of a 4 1/4 for the finish alone. But it was a surprisingly really good match. And again, surprisingly good for the wrong reasons. Not because they're bad, but because Mercedes Mone has just been uneventful. Talk about a match that's never uneventful. Hangman Page versus Jay White was just also really good. The best way I can describe this match is a counter sequence symphony. Especially that last like 30 seconds where it's counter after counter. Hangman goes for the buckshot, but Jay catches him and then goes for the Blade Runner. But then Hangman catches that, tries for the Deadeye. Jay White gets out of that, and then Hangman swoops his way into a ankle lock. Jay White gets up to his feet, pulls him in, and hits the Blade Runner. And this happened all in like the span of like 15 seconds. It was beautiful. One day, all of you will stop sleeping on Jay White as one of the best counter wrestlers of all time. I don't know when that day is going to come, but I hope it is soon. Will Osprey versus Fletcher was great, and I don't think anyone expected otherwise. It's Will Osprey. This man can wrestle a broomstick and bring it to a 4.5-star match, I'm sure. They also had a match earlier in the year that I believe was also like almost 5 stars in my book. Osprey's entrance being all black and muted and him coming out with a serious face, I thought that was a nice touch. Kyle Fletcher's theme song, though, yeah, like, I feel like AEW has hired enough former WWE guys. I don't really see why Tony Khan felt the need to hire Def Rebel, but please take that theme song back to where it came from. Anyway, close your eyes. Go ahead, close your eyes. And envision a Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher match. It probably went down in that exact way. That's not a bad thing, but I don't feel like I have to go blow by blow. You can kind of envision how this match went. Except for the finish. Let's talk about that. Will Ospreay's built like Iron Man in AEW. You can throw a bunch of things at this man, he will find a way to kick out and prevail. There are times he will kick out of things that I'm just like, really? There are steel steps set up on the outside of the ring, right near the apron, right? Kyle Fletcher has Will Ospreay on the apron, gets him in a tombstone position, proceeds to tombstone Will Ospreay off of the apron and onto the steel steps. Now, a devastating move like that would warrant in either a count-out victory or a pinfall victory. Kyle Fletcher bides his time on the outside. Why? I don't fucking know, but he decides to take like 20 seconds to get Will Ospreay in the ring and stand him up. Yes, he doesn't go for the immediate pin. Instead, he stands Ospreay up and hits him with a pile driver. So now Ospreay's been hit with a tombstone pile driver on the steel steps and a pile driver inside the ring. And Ospreay kicked out. Now again, I don't take wrestling too seriously these days, but I just looked and I'm just like, really? Especially because then Kyle Fletcher hits a flurry of moves onto Ospreay, gets him on the top rope, hits a brain buster onto the turnbuckle, onto Ospreay, and pins him. So the tombstone pile driver on the steel steps, followed by a pile driver, doesn't do it. But a top rope brain buster, okay, I'll leave it alone. Okay, Kyle Fletcher can have that, but can we please not book Ospreay like he is the toughest man to beat in AEW? If you're gonna book him like so, then at least make him AEW World Champion. That's all I ask. This was not a match, but a segment. I saw a Champagne Championship celebration and my head immediately went to like an Edge and Lita segment from like 20 years ago. And I said, would they do this on pay-per-view? And they didn't. But instead, Mariah May attempts to turn on Mina by hitting her with a bottle, but Mina ducks it. Mina then kicks the bottle out of her hand and it shatters into pieces, which was cool as shit. Mariah spits on her and then Mina spears her off of the ramp onto tables on the outside. Was there a build to this turn? Because if there was, I missed it. But this seemed kind of out of nowhere. Mariah does need some opponents, and Mina is a good opponent to have. But the segment does feel very rushed, at least in my opinion, because again, if I missed the build-up, that's on me. But let me know if there was build-up to this, because I feel like there really wasn't. Jack Perry and Daniel Garcia was good. Nothing overly impressive happened in this match, but Daniel Garcia is the new TNT champion. While I was very happy that he won, I just couldn't help but feel like this came like 3 years too late, 2 years too late, 1 year too late, 6 months too late. And listen, better late than never. But Tony Khan needs to do a better job at realizing when people are hot and capitalizing on that instead of waiting several months to a year after they've cooled off to give them a run. He was good at that in the very beginning of AEW, but towards the last 4 or 5 years, he's been kind of missing the mark on men. And again, Private Party, Daniel Garcia, happy they won, but these reigns are coming very late in their run. And I feel like we could have got more mileage out of this. But, you know, I'll let it be. I'm happy this happened. This match kind of disappointed me. It was a big nothing burger. Konosuke Takeshita won. Moving on. We hurt people. Ayy, we hurt people. Ah. The theme song is stuck in my head, and it's caught on to the crowd, and I love that. Bobby Lashley bullied Swerve Strickland for the first 10 minutes, as I expected him to. Swerve started coming back, and he hits this one spot that was honestly really scary. He hits this apron DDT onto Bobby Lashley, except Bobby's head misses the apron, and he almost collides with the mat. After that, Swerve Strickland runs up steel steps, jumps onto a standing Bobby Lashley, and stomps him through the announce table. This is when the shift happens, and it was getting kind of hype at this point. They're going at it, and then distraction happened. Personally, I don't think the Hurt Business should be getting that involved in Bobby Lashley matches. I don't want to see cheap heel tactics from them. They're above that. Bobby Lashley benefited from a distraction, locked in a hurt lock, and beat Swerve Strickland. Good match, but let's not get finishes like that in the future. Main event time. Very decent to good, but like nowhere as great as their all-out 2023 match, unfortunately. Started off hot, Jon Moxley shut him down. He tried, but Jon Moxley came out victorious. Through a lot of interference too. Hangman came out, then Christian came out, then Jay White came out. tried to escape to the back and Darby Allin shut that shit down. A lot going on in the title picture. Hopefully it gets more interesting.